The weeks that followed felt like a dream Joy kept waiting to wake from. She settled into Do-hyun's penthouse, slowly making it theirs rather than just his. Her books appeared on his shelves, her favorite tea in his kitchen, her laughter in rooms that had been silent for too long. He gave her a credit card she rarely used, bought her clothes she protested but secretly loved, and showed her a soul most tourists never saw: private clubs, hidden restaurants, rooftop gardens where the city sparkled like scattered diamonds. But beneath the romance, tension simmered. The restaurant staff grew increasingly hostile. Joy overheard whispers about favoritism, about sleeping her way to the top, about foreigners taking opportunities from hardworking Koreans. Minji, once friendly, now barely spoke to her. Mrs. Park remained kind but distant, professional where she'd once been warm. "Ignore them," Do-hyun said when she mentioned it. "Jealousy makes people ugly." But it wore on her, the isolation, the judgment, the feeling of being forever outside looking in. She'd left Lagos to escape limitations, only to find new ones in Seoul. Different face, same walls. Then Do-hyun's business associates started inviting them to events, galas, dinners, parties where Seoul's elite gathered to see and be seen. Joy went because he asked, dressed in the beautiful clothes he bought her, and tried to ignore how out of place she felt among Korea's polished, perfect socialites. At one particularly lavish party, a woman in head-to-toe Chanel looked Joy up and down with barely concealed disdain. "How exotic," she said in English, her smile sharp. Do-hyun always did have unusual tastes. Do-hyun's hand tightened on Joy's waist. "My taste is impeccable," he said coldly. "Joy is beautiful, intelligent, and kind, qualities you wouldn't recognize if they introduced themselves." The woman's smile froze. She retreated, but the damage was done. Joy felt the stares, heard the whispers, saw the looks that said she didn't belong, would never belong, was just a phase the powerful Baek Do-hyun was going through. "Can we leave?" she whispered. "Of course." He didn't hesitate, didn't make excuses. Just took her hand and led her out, leaving Seoul's elite to their gossip and cruelty. In the car, Joy finally broke. "Maybe they're right. Maybe I don't fit." "Stop." He pulled over, turned to face her, his eyes blazing. "Those people are empty, Joy. Beautiful shells with nothing inside. They measure worth by bloodlines and bank accounts, by who wore what and who knows whom. They're incapable of seeing real value because they have none themselves." He cupped her face, forcing her to meet his gaze. "You are worth more than all of them combined. You save lives while they sip champagne. You work hard while they spend daddy's money. You love genuinely while they calculate advantages. Don't let them make you question your worth. But how long before you see what they see? Before you realize I'm just mine." The word was absolute, final. "You're mine, Joy. The only person whose opinion matters to me besides yours. And I think you're perfect. So, either trust my judgment or admit you think I'm an idiot." Despite herself, she laughed wetly. "You're not an idiot. Then trust me. Trust us. Trust that what we have is stronger than their petty cruelty."
She wanted to. God, she wanted to.
But doubt was a persistent poison, whispering that fairy tales didn't happen to girls like her, that men like Do-hyun eventually woke up and returned to their own kind. The following week, Min-seo invited Joy to lunch, just the two of them. They met at a quiet restaurant, and Min-seo studied Joy with those sharp, knowing eyes. "You're struggling," she said. Not a question. Joy saw no point in lying. "Yes." Because of the whispers, the judgment, the feeling that you don't belong in Do-hyun's world. "How did you?" "Because I lived it," Min-seo said softly. Do-hyun's father came from a powerful family. I was just a seamstress's daughter who caught his eye. His associates said the same things about me, that I was exotic, different, a phase. That he'd eventually marry someone suitable and I'd be discarded. She paused, her expression distant. I almost left him because of it. Almost walked away to save myself the inevitable heartbreak. "What made you stay?"
He did.
He stood in front of his entire family, his business partners, everyone who mattered, and told them if they couldn't accept me, he'd walk away from it all. His inheritance, his position, everything. For me. Minasio reached across the table, squeezed Joy's hand. Do Hyun is his father's son. When he loves absolutely. He'd burn his world down for you, Joy. The question is whether you're brave enough to let him. I don't want him to give up his world for me. Then change his world instead. Bring your strength, your compassion, your perspective into it. Make it better by being in it. That's what I did. I didn't try to fit into their world. I built a new one alongside my husband where love mattered more than status.
She smiled.
Do Hyun is happier than I've ever seen him. That's your doing. Don't let small-minded people steal that. Joy left lunch feeling steadier, more certain. Minasio was right. She didn't need to fit into Do Hyun's world. She needed to build her own place in it on her own terms. That evening, she told Do Hyun she wanted to go back to school. She'd always dreamed of getting her degree, of becoming something more than just a waitress, surviving paycheck to paycheck. His response was immediate and absolute support. He'd pay for everything, help her apply, make it happen. But I want to pay my own way, she insisted. Use my own money, my own effort. Our money, he corrected gently. What's mine is yours, Joy. But I understand needing to do this yourself. So how about this? I'll pay the tuition, you pay me back after graduation if it makes you feel better. Deal? It was compromise, middle ground. She accepted, feeling lighter than she had in weeks. Over the next month, things improved. Joy enrolled in classes, found purpose beyond work and being Do Hyun's girlfriend. She made new friends, other students who didn't care about her relationship status or her boyfriend's power, who just liked her for herself. Her Korean improved rapidly, helped by Do Hyun's patient tutoring and her coursework. And through it all, Do Hyun was there, supportive, proud, protective. He attended her first presentation, sitting in the back of the classroom with barely concealed pride. He quizzed her for exams, celebrated her good grades, comforted her through the stressful ones. I told you, he said after she aced her first major test. You're extraordinary. Why are you surprised? Because no one had ever believed in her like this. Because she'd spent so long fighting alone that having a partner felt foreign, impossible, too good to be true. But it was true. He was true. And slowly, Joy let herself believe it. 3 months into their relationship, Do Hyun came home late one evening, his expression troubled. Joy looked up from her textbooks, immediately concerned. What's wrong? I have to go to Busan, he said. Business. Potentially dangerous business. I'll be gone 3, maybe 4 days. Fear spiked through her. After Jihoon, after seeing how violent Do Hyun's world could be, the thought of him in danger made her stomach clench. Can't someone else go?
No.
This requires my personal attention at the negotiation with a rival family about territory. If I don't go, it could escalate into war. He sat beside her, pulled her close. I'll have heavy security. It should be fine. But I need you to promise me you'll stay safe while I'm gone. Don't go anywhere alone. Keep the guards with you. Call me if anything feels wrong. I promise. But Do Hyun, please be careful. Come back to me. Always. He kissed her deeply, desperately, like a man afraid it might be the last time. I love you, Joy. Whatever happens, remember that. I love you more than I've ever loved anything. The intensity frightened her. You're scaring me. This is just business, right? Routine? Routine for my world, he said. Which means potentially deadly for normal people. But I've done this before. I'll do it again. I need you to know. Need you to understand how much you mean to me. She held him that night, memorizing the feel of him, the sound of his heartbeat, the warmth of his skin. And when he left the next morning, she watched from the window until his car disappeared, fighting the superstitious dread that said she'd never see him again. The first day passed slowly. Do Hyun called twice, texted frequently, assured her everything was fine. The second day was quieter, shorter calls, fewer texts, his voice tighter when they spoke. By the third day, Joy was pacing the penthouse like a caged animal, unable to focus on schoolwork or anything else. Then her phone rang. Not Do Hyun, one of his men, voice urgent. Miss Joy, there's been an incident. Mr. Beck was attacked during the negotiations. He's alive but injured. We're bringing him back to Seoul now. Should arrive in 2 hours. The world tilted. How badly is he hurt? Stable. That's all I can say. Meet us at the private hospital. The next 2 hours were the longest of Joy's life. She paced the hospital's private waiting room, refusing tea or comfort from Do-hyun's people, just waiting, praying, bargaining with a god she rarely spoke to. When they finally wheeled him in, her knees nearly buckled. He was conscious, that was good. But his face was bruised, his arm in a sling, bandages visible beneath his torn shirt. His eyes found hers immediately, and despite the pain, he smiled. "I'm okay," he said. "I'm okay, Joy." She rushed to his side as they transferred him to a bed, her hands hovering over him, afraid to touch in case she hurt him. What happened? Ambush. The rivals decided negotiation was for cowards, tried to eliminate me instead. He winced as the doctors began their examination. But they underestimated my security. We fought back, neutralized the threat. I took a knife to the shoulder and some bruising, but I've had worse. You've had worse, she repeated numbly. You say that like it's normal. In my world, it is. And there it was, the truth she'd been avoiding. Do-hyun's world was violent, dangerous, potentially lethal. Loving him meant accepting that he might come home injured, or worse, might not come home at all. I can't do this, she whispered. His expression froze. What? I can't sit home wondering if you're going to die. Can't get calls saying you've been stabbed or shot or worse. I can't live with this fear eating me alive. Tears spilled down her cheeks. I love you, Do-hyun, but I can't lose you. And staying means potentially losing you every single day. Joy, please. I need space. Time to think. I'm sorry. She left before he could respond, before the doctors could stop her, before she could change her mind. One of his guards tried to follow, but she waved him off, needing to be alone with her spiraling thoughts. She went to the only place that felt safe anymore, the restaurant where she'd first started working, where none of this insanity had begun. Mrs. Park was closing up, surprise crossing her face when Joy walked in. Are you okay? You look terrible. So Joy told her everything about Do-hyun, about the attack, about the impossible choice between love and self-preservation. Mrs. Park listened without judgment, then pulled Joy into a tight hug. Love is always a risk, she said quietly. My husband was a firefighter. Every day he went to work, I knew he might not come home. Every siren made my heart stop. But I loved him anyway, married him anyway, because a life with him, even a potentially short one, was better than a long life without him. She pulled back, her eyes wet. He died 5 years ago, saving children from a burning building. And I don't regret a single day, a single moment, because he was mine and I was his, and that love made both our lives better. I'm not that brave, Joy whispered. Yes, you are. You saved a dying woman in the rain. You stood up to Do-hyun when he was overbearing. You faced judgment and cruelty and kept going. You're braver than you know, Joy. The question is whether you're brave enough to choose love despite the fear. Joy stayed at the restaurant for hours, thinking, crying, warring with herself. She loved Do-hyun desperately. But was love enough? Could she live with the constant fear, the danger, the reality of his world? Her phone buzzed. A text from Do-hyun. I understand if you need space. But please know, I would give up everything for you. My business, my position, my entire world. If the only way to keep you is to walk away from it all, I'll do it. You're more important than any of it. She stared at the message, her heart breaking. He would do it too, would give up everything he'd built, everything he was, just to keep her safe and happy. Would sacrifice his entire identity. But that wasn't love. That was just trading one loss for another. No. If they were going to do this, it had to be honest. He couldn't give up his world, and she couldn't ask him to. But maybe she could be strong enough to stand beside him in it. To accept the danger as the price of loving someone extraordinary. To choose bravery over fear. She called him. He answered before the first ring finished. Joy. I'm coming back, she said. To the hospital.
To you.
I'm choosing you, Do-hyun. Choosing us, despite the fear, despite the danger, despite everything. You don't have to. Yes, I do. Because you're worth it. Because what we have is worth it. Because I'd rather have one day with you than a lifetime without you. She swallowed hard. So I'm coming back. And this time, I'm staying. For real. Forever. If you'll still have me. If I'll, his voice broke. Joy, I've been lying here terrified I'd lost you. Trying to figure out how to live without you. So yes. Yes, come back. Come back and never leave again. She caught a taxi to the hospital, her heart pounding. When she walked into his room, he was sitting up despite the doctor's protests, his eyes locked on the door like he'd been waiting, watching, hoping. Their gazes met across the room. Then she was running, and he was opening his good arm, and she crashed into him with enough force to make him grunt in pain. But he didn't let go, just held her tight while she cried and apologized and promised never to run again. I love you, she said against his chest. I love you so much. I love you too. He kissed her hair, her forehead, anywhere he could reach. We'll figure this out, Joy. Together. I'll be more careful, take fewer risks, protect myself better, because I have something to live for now. Someone to come home to. We'll make this work. Promise me, she whispered. Promise you'll always come back to me. I promise. I'll fight through hell itself to get back to you. Always. They held each other while the doctors fussed, and his guard stood watch, and the Seoul night glittered beyond the windows. And Joy felt it settle into her bones. The certainty that this was right, that he was hers and she was his, that whatever came next, they'd face it together. The storm had passed. Now came the calm, and the building of something lasting. Do-hyun recovered quickly. Too quickly, the doctors complained, but he was motivated. He had a woman waiting for him, a future to build, a life to live beyond violence and business. Joy stayed by his side through physical therapy, through the nightmares that woke him gasping, through the slow process of healing both body and spirit. And something shifted between them. The intensity remained, but it deepened, matured into something steadier. They talked about futures now, about where they wanted to live, whether they wanted children, how to build a life that balanced his responsibilities with her dreams. I want to legitimize more of the business, he said one evening as they sat on his balcony, watching Seoul sparkle below. Move away from the gray areas into full legality. It'll take years, make enemies cost money. But I want to build something clean for our children. Something they can be proud of. Our children, Joy repeated, her heart fluttering at the casual way he said it, like their future was inevitable, certain. Eventually. When you're ready. When we're ready. He pulled her closer, his warmth chasing away the autumn chill. I want everything with you, Joy. Marriage, family, growing old together. Want to watch you become whatever you want to be, and support every step. Want to be the man you deserve. You already are, she said softly.
Not yet.
But I'm working on it. A month after the Busan incident, Do-hyun took Joy to a charity gala, one of Seoul's biggest social events. She dressed carefully in a gown he'd bought her, deep emerald that made her skin glow, and tried to ignore the nervous flutter in her stomach. You're beautiful, Do-hyun said, his eyes dark with appreciation and something deeper. You're going to outshine every woman there. I'm going to embarrass you, she countered. Impossible. He kissed her gently. And if anyone makes you uncomfortable, we leave. No explanations, no apologies. You're more important than their opinions. The gala was everything she expected, opulent, crowded, filled with Seoul's elite dressed in their finest. Joy felt eyes on her the moment they entered, heard the whispers. But Do-hyun kept her close, his hand possessive on her waist, his attention entirely on her despite the people trying to claim it. Then Ji-woo appeared, beautiful in crimson, her smile venomous. Do-hyun, she purred.
And Joy.
How unexpected to see you both here. Ji-woo. Do-hyun's voice was cold. I thought I made it clear.
Oh, relax.
I'm not here to cause problems. Her eyes raked over Joy with thinly veiled contempt. I just wanted to congratulate you both on your relationship. I'm sure it'll last as long as his interest does. Longer, Joy said quietly, surprising herself. It'll last longer because it's built on something real, something you wouldn't recognize. Jiwoo's expression twisted. You think you're special? You think. I think I'm loved. Joy interrupted, her voice steady despite her racing heart. Genuinely, completely loved by a good man. And I think you're bitter because you never were. You had his time, his attention, maybe even his body. But you never had his heart. And that's what makes me special. Not my looks, not my background, but the fact that he chose me. Chooses me. Every single day. The crowd around them had gone silent, listening. Jiwoo's face flushed with rage and humiliation. She opened her mouth to respond, but Do-hyun cut her off. You heard her. We're done here. Enjoy your evening, Jiwoo. Alone, as usual. He led Joy away, pride radiating from him. That was incredible, he murmured. You've never been more attractive than you are right now. I probably made an enemy. You already had one. But you stood up for yourself, for us. That takes courage. He stopped, turned her to face him in the middle of the glittering ballroom. Joy Okafor, you are the strongest, bravest, most extraordinary woman I've ever met. And I am completely, irrevocably, eternally yours. Then, in front of Seoul's elite, in front of everyone who doubted them, he kissed her. Deep and claiming and absolute, a public declaration that she was his and he was hers, and anyone who didn't like it could leave. When they finally broke apart, the crowd was staring. Some looked scandalized. Others smiled. And Joy realized she didn't care. Let them judge. Let them whisper. She had Do-hyun, and he had her, and that was all that mattered. The rest of the evening passed in a blur of introductions and small talk. Do-hyun introduced Joy to business associates, friends, family members, all with the same pride, the same certainty. This is Joy, the woman I love, the woman who saved my mother's life, the woman who's changing mine. And slowly, grudgingly, people accepted her. Not all of them, some remained cold, distant. But enough smiled, enough welcomed her, enough saw past her skin and background to the woman beneath. It was progress. Small, hard one, but real. Later, much later, they returned to the penthouse. Do-hyun was quiet, contemplative, his hand never leaving hers. What are you thinking? Joy asked. That I want to marry you, he said simply. Not someday. Soon. As soon as you'll have me. Her breath caught. Do-hyun. I know it's fast. I know we've only been together a few months. But I've never been more certain of anything in my life. He stopped, turned her to face him, his eyes burning with intensity. You're my future, Joy. My reason for getting up, for working to be better, for wanting to build something lasting. I don't need more time to know that. So if you'll have me, if you'll take this broken, dangerous man and let him spend the rest of his life loving you, I'll get down on my knees right now and ask properly. Tears blurred her vision. This was insane. Too fast, too intense, too everything. Every rational part of her screamed to slow down, to wait, to be sensible. But when had anything about their relationship been sensible? Yes, she whispered. Yes, I'll marry you. His expression transformed, joy so pure and unguarded that he looked years younger. Then he was kissing her, lifting her, spinning her while she laughed and cried and held on tight. I don't have a ring yet, he said breathlessly. I was going to get one. Plan something romantic. I don't need romantic. I just need you. They made love that night with a new intensity, a new certainty. This wasn't just passion anymore, it was promise, commitment, the beginning of forever. And afterward, tangled together in the darkness, Do-hyun whispered plans against her skin. Small wedding or large? Small. Just family and close friends. When?
Soon.
I don't want to wait. Neither do I. He kissed her shoulder. I'll make it perfect. I promise. It already is, Joy said. Because I'll be marrying you. True to his word, Do Hyun didn't wait. Within a week, he'd found the perfect ring, elegant, understated, exactly her style. He proposed properly this time, down on one knee in the hammock where they'd first truly connected, his voice shaking with emotion as he asked her to be his wife. She said yes again, crying too hard to say anything else. The wedding was planned for 6 weeks away, enough time to prepare, but not so long that the waiting became torture. Miss Yo cried when they told her, hugged Joy tight, and whispered thank you for bringing her son back to life. Do Hyun's inner circle celebrated, genuinely happy to see their boss happy. And the restaurant staff, even the ones who'd been coldest, softened when they saw the ring, saw how Do Hyun looked at Joy, saw that this wasn't a fling or a phase, but something real and lasting. I was wrong about you, Min Ji admitted one evening. I thought you were using him. But you really love him, don't you? More than I ever thought possible, Joy admitted. He's lucky to have you. I'm the lucky one. But she said it. She believed it too. The weeks leading to the wedding were a whirlwind of preparation, joy, and unexpected challenges. Do Hyun insisted on handling most of the details, working with wedding planners to create something intimate and beautiful. Joy focused on her studies, determined to finish her semester strong before becoming Mrs. Baek Do Hyun. But not everyone was happy about the upcoming union. 2 weeks before the wedding, an envelope arrived at the penthouse. No return address, just Joy's name written in elegant script. Inside was a collection of photographs. Do Hyun in violent situations, bloody confrontations, meetings with dangerous-looking men. And a note. Are you sure you want to marry into this? He's a monster. You still have time to run. Joy's hands trembled as she stared at the images. She'd known intellectually about Do Hyun's world, but seeing it documented, the violence, the danger, the darkness, made it visceral, real, terrifying. Do Hyun found her on the balcony that evening, the photos scattered at her feet. Who sent these? His voice was deadly calm, the kind of calm that preceded storms. I don't know. Does it matter? Joy looked up at him, searching his face. Are these real? He didn't insult her by lying.
Yes.
Most of them are from years ago, before I met you. Some are more recent, situations I couldn't avoid, conflicts I had to resolve. He knelt beside her, gathering the photos with careful hands. This is who I was, Joy. Parts of who I still am when necessary. I won't apologize for protecting my family, my people, my territory. But I also won't lie to you about it. Have you killed people? The question came out smaller than she intended. Silence stretched between them, heavy and profound. Then, yes. Not recently. Not since we met. I've been trying to find other solutions, other ways. But in the past, when there was no other choice, when it was them or my family, yes. She should have been horrified. Should have grabbed those photos and run. Should have listened to whoever sent them. Instead, she thought about the man who held her tenderly, who supported her dreams, who'd walked into a trap to save her life. Do you regret it?
Some of them.
The ones who might have deserved mercy, second chances. Others?
His jaw tightened. No.
They would have killed people I love. I'd do it again to protect what's mine. Including me, especially you. He cupped her face, forcing her to meet his fierce gaze. I know what I'm asking you to accept, Joy. I know it's not fair, not normal, not easy. If you want to walk away, I'll understand. I'll hate it. It'll destroy me, but I'll understand. Joy looked at the photos again, at the violence, the blood, the proof of the darkness in Do Hyun's world. Then she looked at him, at the man who'd changed his entire life for her, who was trying to be better, who loved her with an intensity that made her feel cherished and safe despite everything. I'm not walking away, she said quietly. Whoever sent these wants to scare me off, wants to break us apart. But they don't understand. I already know who you are, Do Hyun. I know about the darkness, and I'm choosing you anyway. Choosing us. Because the man you are with me, the man you're becoming, is worth believing in. Relief flooded his features. He pulled her into his arms, held her like she was the only solid thing in a world gone mad. I don't deserve you. Probably not, she agreed, making him laugh wetly. But you're stuck with me anyway. Thank God for that. They burned the photos together that night, watching the past turn to ash. Do-hyun made calls, mobilized his people to find out who'd sent them. Within days, they had an answer, Ji-woo, making one last desperate attempt to destroy their happiness. Let it go, Joy said when Do-hyun wanted to retaliate. She's already lost. We won. Hurting her now just proves we're afraid of her and we're not. He studied her for a long moment, then nodded slowly. You're right. You're always right. How did I get so lucky? Karma, she teased. For all the good deeds you definitely did in past lives. He laughed, pulled her close, and Joy felt the last of her doubts dissolve. This was her choice, her future, her forever. And she was ready for it. The wedding day arrived cold and clear, Seoul dressed in winter's first snow. They'd chosen the hanok for the ceremony, intimate, meaningful, perfect. Only 50 guests, mostly family and close friends, people who genuinely cared about their happiness. Joy stood in the traditional bride's room, wearing a hanbok that Min S-yo had commissioned, white and gold, blending Korean tradition with modern elegance. She looked at herself in the mirror and barely recognized the confident, radiant woman staring back. You're gorgeous, Min S-yo said, adjusting Joy's hair with tender hands. My son is the luckiest man alive. I'm the lucky one, Joy protested.
No.
You saved my life, and in doing so, you saved his. Gave him back his humanity, his capacity for joy, his future. Min S-yo's eyes filled with tears. You're the daughter I always wanted, Joy. Welcome to our family. Officially. They hugged, crying happy tears, until someone knocked. Time to begin. The ceremony was simple but profound. Do-hyun stood at the altar in traditional Korean wedding attire, looking devastating and nervous and utterly focused on the entrance, where Joy would appear. When the music started, when she stepped into view, his expression transformed into something so tender, so awed, that guests whispered and smiled. Joy walked toward him feeling like she was floating, like this was a dream she'd wake from at any moment. But then she was there, standing before him, and he was real, solid and warm, and looking at her like she'd hung the moon. The officiant spoke in Korean and English, honoring both their cultures. They exchanged vows they'd written themselves, Do-hyun promising to protect, cherish, and grow with her, Joy promising to stand beside him, believe in him, and build a future together that honored both their pasts. I love you, Do-hyun said when it was time for rings, his voice rough with emotion. I loved you from the moment I saw you. I'll love you until the day I die, and whatever comes after. You're my miracle, Joy. My salvation. My everything. I love you too, Joy whispered through tears. You're my home, Do-hyun. My safe place. My partner in everything. I choose you, today and always. When the officiant pronounced them married, when Do-hyun pulled her close and kissed her with reverent passion, Joy felt something click into place. This was right. This was real. This was forever. The reception was joyful, full of laughter and dancing and celebration. Do-hyun rarely left Joy's side, his hand always finding hers, his eyes always seeking her out across the room. They cut the cake together, fed each other with playful tenderness, danced to music that blended Korean tradition with Nigerian rhythms. Happy. Do-hyun murmured as they swayed together, the party continuing around them. Deliriously, Joy admitted. I didn't know I could be this happy. Didn't know happiness like this existed. He kissed her forehead, her cheeks, her lips. Thank you for taking a chance on Meiji 9. For seeing past the monster to the man underneath. You were never a monster. Just a man doing what he had to do to survive, to protect. But now you have me to protect you too. To remind you there are other ways, better ways. She smiled up at him. We'll figure it out together. Together, he agreed. Always together. Later that night, in the honeymoon suite Do-hyun had reserved at Seoul's most exclusive hotel, they came together with a new intensity. This wasn't just passion anymore. It was covenant, promise, the physical manifestation of vows spoken and meant. And when Joy fell asleep in her husband's arms, she felt completely, utterly at peace. The months that followed were the happiest of Joy's life. She finished her semester with excellent grades, securing a scholarship for the next year. Do-hyun continued working to legitimize his business operations, slowly moving away from the gray areas toward full legality. It was hard, costly, dangerous. Some of his old associates didn't appreciate the change. But he persisted, motivated by the future they were building. They traveled together. To Lagos so Do-hyun could meet Joy's family, to Jeju Island for a delayed honeymoon, to Tokyo and Bangkok and cities Joy had only dreamed of seeing. He showed her the world, and she showed him how to see it with wonder instead of calculation, joy instead of suspicion. And then, for months into their marriage, Joy missed her period. At first, she didn't think much of it. Stress, travel, adjustment to married life. But when a week passed, then two, she bought a test. Took it alone in their penthouse bathroom, her hand shaking. 2 lines. Positive. Joy stared at the test, emotions warring inside her. Terror. She wasn't ready. They weren't ready. How could they bring a child into Do-hyun's dangerous world? Joy, a baby, their baby, the physical manifestation of their love. Hope, for the future, for the family they'd create, for new beginnings. She was still staring when Do-hyun came home, calling her name. She met him in the living room, the test hidden behind her back, her heart hammering. "What's wrong?" he asked immediately, always so attuned to her moods. "Nothing's wrong. Something's different." She pulled out the test, held it up with shaking hands. "We're pregnant." He froze. For a long moment, he just stared at the test, his expression unreadable. Fear spiked through Joy. What if he didn't want this? What if? Then he was moving, crossing the space between them, pulling her into his arms with a gentleness that stole her breath. His body shook against hers, and she realized he was crying. "Do-hyun, I'm going to be a father," he said, his voice broken and beautiful. "We're going to have a baby. Joy, we're going to have a baby." "Are you happy?" she asked, needing to hear it. He pulled back just enough to cup her face, his eyes wet and blazing with emotion. Happy doesn't begin to cover it. Terrified, overwhelmed, grateful, awed. All of it at once. "You've given me everything, Joy. Love, purpose, hope. And now this. Now a family." He kissed her softly. "I'll protect you both. I swear it. I'll make the world safe for our child. Whatever it takes." They held each other as Seoul glittered beyond the windows. Two people who'd found each other against impossible odds, now creating new life, new hope, new futures. The pregnancy wasn't easy. Joy suffered through morning sickness that lasted all day, exhaustion that made studying nearly impossible, and fears that woke her gasping in the night. But Do-hyun was there through all of it, holding her hair when she was sick, bringing her favorite foods when she could eat, soothing her fears with quiet promises. "You're going to be an amazing mother," he said one evening, his hand on her growing belly. "Strong, kind, brave. Our child is so lucky to have you." "And you," Joy countered. "You're going to be an incredible father, Do-hyun. I see how you've changed, how you're working to make your world safer. Our baby is lucky to have both of us." He kissed her belly, whispering promises to the child growing inside. And Joy felt her heart overflow with love for her husband, for their baby, for the impossible, beautiful life they were building together. 7 months into the pregnancy, complications arose. Joy's blood pressure spiked dangerously, and the doctors insisted on bed rest. Do-hyun became a man possessed, canceled business trips, worked from home, hovered over Joy with anxious devotion. "I'm fine," she insisted, though secretly she was terrified. "You're not fine. You're on bed rest because our baby is at risk. So you'll rest, and I'll take care of you, and we'll get through this together." His voice broke slightly. "I can't lose you, Joy. Either of you. You're my whole world." "You won't lose us," she promised, praying it was true. The last month was the hardest. Joy was confined to bed, frustrated and uncomfortable and worried. Do-hyun barely left her side, reading to her, watching movies with her, just being present. Min-seo visited daily, bringing comfort and stories of her own difficult pregnancy with Do-hyun. "You're stronger than you know," she told Joy. "You'll get through this. And then you'll have a beautiful baby and forget all about the struggle." Joy wanted to believe her. When labor started, 2 weeks early, fast and intense, Do-hyun went pale but steady. He held Joy's hand through contractions, breathed with her, whispered encouragement when she wanted to give up. "You can do this," he said, his eyes fierce. "You're the strongest person I know. Just a little more, my love. Just a little more." 12 hours later, their daughter entered the world screaming and perfect. The doctor placed her on Joy's chest, and Joy looked down at the tiny, furious face and fell completely in love. "She's beautiful," Do-hyun breathed, tears streaming down his face. "She's perfect. You're perfect. God, Joy, look what we made." They named her Min-ji, after Do-hyun's mother and the hope for a peaceful future. She had Joy's eyes and Do-hyun's determined chin, and from the moment she was born, she owned both her parents completely. Do-hyun was a revelation as a father, tender, devoted, completely smitten. He changed diapers with steady hands, walked the floors at night when Min-ji cried, sang Korean lullabies in his deep voice until she settled. Joy watched him transform from a man who'd known mostly violence into someone capable of infinite gentleness and loved him even more. "I never knew," he said one night, holding their sleeping daughter against his chest. "Never knew I could feel like this. Like my heart exists outside my body, vulnerable and precious and terrifying." "Welcome to parenthood," Joy said with a tired smile. "Best thing that ever happened to me." "Second best," he corrected, looking at Joy. "You're still first." 3 months after Min-ji's birth, Do-hyun surprised Joy with news. He'd sold off the last of his illegal operations, legitimized every aspect of his business. It had cost him money, alliances, power. But he'd done it anyway. Why? Joy asked, though she suspected she knew. "Because I want our daughter to be proud of me. Want her to grow up knowing her father built something honest, something good. Want her to never have to lie about what I do or fear that I won't come home." He cupped Joy's face, his eyes serious. "You and Min-ji are my priority now. Everything else is just details." Joy kissed him, long and deep, pouring every ounce of love and gratitude into it. "I'm so proud of you." "I'm proud of us," he corrected, "for building this, for choosing each other, for creating something beautiful out of impossible circumstances." That night, with their daughter sleeping peacefully in her crib and soul sparkling beyond the windows, Joy reflected on the journey that had brought her here. From a scared waitress helping a dying stranger to a wife and mother loved beyond measure, building a life she'd never dared dream of. "What are you thinking?" Do-hyun asked, pulling her close. "That I'm grateful. For everything. For you, for Min-ji, for this life we've built. For the moment I chose to stop and help your mother instead of walking away." She smiled up at him. "That one choice changed everything. That one choice saved me," Do-hyun said softly. "In more ways than you know. You didn't just save my mother's life that night, Joy. You saved mine too. Gave me a reason to be better, to want more, to believe in futures instead of just surviving presents." They stood together on the balcony, watching Seoul sleep, holding each other as their daughter dreamed nearby. Two people from different worlds, bound together by fate, choice, and love that refused to be denied. Joy thought about the woman she'd been, scared, uncertain, just trying to survive. And the woman she'd become, strong, loved, building a legacy of her own. The journey hadn't been easy. There had been fear, danger, doubt, and pain. But there had also been love. Fierce, transformative, world-changing love. And in the end, that's what mattered most. "I love you," she whispered into the soul night. "I love you too," Do-hyun replied, kissing her temple. "Forever and always." Behind them, Min-ji stirred in her sleep, making the soft sounds babies make when they dream. And Joy smiled, knowing that this moment, this family, this impossible beautiful life, was exactly where she was meant to be. The rain-soaked alley where she'd saved a dying stranger felt like a lifetime ago. But it had led her here, to this moment, to this man, to this future. And she wouldn't change a single thing. 1 year later, the Beck family gathered at the Hanok for Minji's first birthday. The traditional home was filled with laughter, decorations, and family, both Korean and Nigerian, blended beautifully together. Mineso held her granddaughter with tender pride while Joy's mother, visiting from Lagos, wiped happy tears and marveled at how much her daughter's life had changed. Do-hyun stood beside Joy, his arm around her waist, watching their daughter destroy her first birthday cake with enthusiastic hands. "We did good," he murmured. "We did great," Joy corrected, leaning into his warmth. "Want to do it again?" He looked down at her, eyes sparkling with mischief and hope. "Another baby? Eventually. When you're ready. I love being a father. Love watching you be a mother. Love this family we're building." He turned her to face him, serious now. "I love you, Joy Beck. More, every day. You're my miracle, my salvation, my everything." "And you're mine," she replied, tears pricking her eyes even as she smiled. "My unexpected blessing. My impossible love story. My forever." They kissed while family cheered and Minji babbled happily and Seoul bloomed with spring beyond the windows. And somewhere in the city, in a quiet hospital ward, a nurse told the story of the African waitress who'd saved a dying woman in the rain and ended up marrying Seoul's most powerful man. The story spread, became legend, became hope for anyone who believed in destiny, in choice, in love that transforms darkness into light. Because some love stories don't follow the rules. Some love stories start with blood in the rain and end with joy in the sunshine. Some love stories save more than just lives. They save souls. And this was one of those stories. The end and the beginning all at once. A dark romance about an African waitress who saves a Korean mafia boss's mother and wins his heart, featuring intense love, danger, transformation, marriage, and a happy ending with their daughter. Please do not forget to like, share, and subscribe.